Why does it seem that when we're always about to cross that finish line, something else just pops up out of nowhere? Hey there, welcome to my epic journey. This is Brandon DeVere. Thank you, as always, for tuning in and sharing your time with me. I do appreciate that. Here we are on the journey from 600 to 0 to 600 plus and everything that falls in between. Today, I want to go over a book that is, it's funny how things will pop up and get back to your reminders and things like that. And a book that I haven't read in quite a long time, but it's The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. And the reason I'm going to bring it up here is for a couple of different reasons. One is mainly, he kind of talks in there about the the um, the resistance and when you're getting close to things, like certain things pop up and you're not really certain, why, where did it come from, how did it happen, but it just talks about how there's just like a force out there that tries to knock you off as you're getting closer to your goals. Certain things happen, they kind of come up, and it's almost something that you have to fight through as you get closer. And so I had a whole different thing I was going to talk about. Maybe I'll get to it in a second, but both have to do with this fast that I'm doing. I will tell you that when you're fasting, so normally when I sometimes I won't eat until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I won't even realize that I hadn't eaten. I wasn't trying to, but it's funny when you try to do something and now your focus is on that. I can't tell you how many times I thought about like food and how much longer that I have to be on this. So I'm in hour 45, just just a little less than 45 hours has I've been going so far. So I have pretty much all tomorrow, the rest of today, and most of tomorrow until about a little bit after 9 p.m. But the reason that I was saying this because I was going to use another analogy that popped into my head today as I was thinking about that. But of course, I just had to run and grab this book right now. I got home maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes ago, and I changed my mind already of what I wanted to talk about because I wanted to talk about the resistance and things like that. So a perfect example of the resistance, like I said, is maybe you're selling more homes than you've ever sold before, and you have a goal, you want to get to that goal, and then something completely random, like out of your control, happens. I know that happens a lot in real estate, but I'm talking about things that are just like so obscure that you're like, how did that happen? So the reason I bring that up is because I'm on this the first time ever trying a like multi-day fast. Like I've done intermittent fasting and things like that, typically no more than like usually around 16 hours, but if I made it 18 or 20, it was by accident. That's kind of what happened. I never aimed for that number. But here I am, the first time I'm aiming for 72 hours. And so last night, I'll give you actually an update as well. Last night, yesterday was fairly easy. You get bone broth twice throughout the day, and then the rest is water. But during yesterday, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't that difficult, and mainly because I'm already not usually eating until later in the afternoon anyways, just because I don't get hungry typically in the morning. Not by design, it's just like that's kind of the way I am. But as I'm going through all of yesterday, I was fine until it was time for bed, and that's what I was nervous about was will I be hungry like going to bed? And I wasn't really, but my mind was still thinking about it. So I didn't sleep very well last night. Today, this morning I woke up okay. I wasn't hungry because I'm usually not hungry in the morning. But what happened was, like kind of throughout the day, like I'm not taking my allergy medication either right now because I didn't know how it would react with that. And wanted to try to do it as clean as possible. So I don't know if it was my allergies acting up or what, but like my ears were kind of plugged and then my eyes were hurting, or not hurting, but like congested and stuffed up a little bit. But so I go through and kind of, okay, work that out. It's funny because it goes in waves, right? Like you're hungry, then you're like, oh, I got this, and you're not hungry, and then you get hungry again. It kind of goes back and forth, and it can go like minute to minute. But the reason I'm bringing this part up is that I did have a cup of coffee. You can have coffee. It doesn't really say much more than one. Just it has to be black coffee, basically 0 calories. And so I had some coffee this afternoon to try and get through the rest of the evening. And so now I was kind of hungry on the way home, so I took a little bit of drive, kind of distract myself. And I pull up to the house, and I'm like, well, whose car is this? Walk into the house. Now I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, all right, make it a few more hours, go to sleep, wake up in the morning, and then crush it tomorrow. You'll be great. So as I'm feeling up, I open the door, and as soon as I open the door, boom, this whiff of amazing food. hits my nose, and I'm like, oh. And I walk in, and I see my niece's kids, Eva, my daughter, Michaela, and I walk around the corner and I see our niece, and our niece is like, oh, like happy to see me, has no idea that I'm on a that I'm doing this water fast, and she goes, oh, I got fish ceviche for you. I just made it. It's gonna be so good. And I just look at her. I put my head down and I walk out. And Eva's like, he's on a water fast, and she's like, what for what? But why this is the resistance is because she's cooked at the house before, always, like many times, but it's always been functions. I've never once walked through that door in 7 years since I've been at this house, walked through that door unexpectedly, having her sitting there cooking something, not to mention something that is not cooked often, right? It wasn't like she was making tacos or like, hamburgers or something like that, which I can have all the time. Like she's making ceviche, which I've like, it's not that it's rare here or rare for our family to eat that, but here at our house on Tuesday night at 6:00, I wasn't expecting to walk into that. So I'm like, but anyway, so that's kind of the resistance, right? And you can, again, it's the coming out of nowhere, like never happened before. I happen to be doing this thing. If it would have been any other night, it would have been down. Eva would have been making something, or I would have been making something, not for myself tonight, of course, but that's what it would have been like. And this is like almost semi-special occasion to come over and cook and make a special meal. And I can't have any until tomorrow night. So, but she did make me feel better by telling me that, it will be more marinated for me tomorrow. So it should taste better tomorrow for me. So I'm actually going to end with that because I don't want to go too long on this. The other aspect, which hopefully I'll bring up tomorrow, the idea of how, and I'm not going, this isn't a, hey, look at me, I'm fasting. These are just things that I'm picking up while I'm doing it and relating it to. And tomorrow will be more towards how fasting has kind of has a connection with home selling and agent attraction and team building and things like that. So hopefully I remember to do that one for you tomorrow, but that's the idea. It probably won't be, will I remember? It will be what else will happen in the next little over 24 hours. What do I have? It's almost 6:00. So 27 hours I have roughly left on this. So, if something else happens over the next 27 hours, that might be it. But other than that, or otherwise, be ready. That's what we'll talk about tomorrow is, how fasting kind of, how I've kept it, kept the momentum, and how that relates to, real estate industry as well. So I will see you on that one. Have a great one.